Hi my sparkly friends, how's it going? How are you? I hope you're doing well and having an amazing day. I don't know why I'm doing this motion, but it's kind of fun. Welcome to the Kitch-Em show. I'm Emily's, but you can call me Em, and I appreciate you coming in and hanging out with me today. We're trying a new recipe, everyone. We are trying French onion chicken and rice casserole. That's a long name, but I'm so excited. I've done a lot of prep work to get this ready, and it's taken me a little while just because I like to have things prepped for when I film. But if you're cooking in your kitchen and you're like all scattered about, do something called mise en place. Mise en place is French for basically everything in its place. So I like having everything mise en place so that I don't have to run around like a chicken with the head cut off. Anyway, if you're new here and you want to come back and hang out again, be sure to click that subscribe button, and also be sure to click the thumbs up and leave a nice comment below and let me know if you want to try this out too, because I'm sure it's going to be delicious. Shall we get into it? Let's do it. Speaking of onions, this is 6 chopped up onions. Woo-wee! My eyes were burning, y'all. Alright, so I have my skillet, not my skillet, I have this pot thing, this small pot. So I'm going to take a good slab of butter, about 2 tablespoons worth, and I like to stab it with a knife. That's how it's done. And some good olive oil, and I like to drizzle the bottom, and I'm going to make sure this bottom is fully coated with oil and butter. While that melts, I'm going to tell you what I'm drinking. I have a Waterloo raspberry nectarine sparkling water. This is not cold, it's room temperature. So I don't normally drink these room temperature, but I'm thirsty and I want carbonation. So I'm going to talk about some tips with the French onions. These are going to be caramelized, and what I've done is I've chopped these up pretty small. Some of these are going to caramelize more quickly than others. Just as a note that if you are trying to make them consistent, then make sure they're the same size and thickness. Smoke decline. Oh, you hear that? You hear it going. You hear it going. So I'm going to reduce this heat, and now we're going to add the onions. A little bit at a time to not splash up any oil. There's a lot of onions, but these cook down. All the water moisture comes out. If I had a bigger pot with me, I would totally use that, but I don't. And I'm going to toss the onions around in the butter and oil. I'm going to check on this in about 3 to 5 minutes just to make sure that it's not burning on the bottom, and just start mixing it up. Eventually, all those onions are going to condense down. All that water is going to come out of there, and when I lift the lid, all that moisture is going to be released in the air. My house is going to smell like onions for days, but that's okay. It's all right. We're good, right? Right? I hear them sizzling. So I'm keeping this on medium heat. Now, if you've never made caramelized onions before, it can be a little tricky. You want to watch them. The key is to make sure that you do not overheat your pan. Keep the temperature low. Medium is about as high as you want to go. You don't want anything hotter than that, because the sugars in the onion will cook faster than the onion itself. So you want time for everything to soften and for those sugars to be released and to cook evenly throughout. So medium is the highest heat you want for a longer term, more delicious browned caramelized onion. So the onions are getting a little sweaty and they smell delicious. This is gonna take me about 30 minutes to cook these down, which is totally cool, totally fine. But I will have a short here on this channel showing you some tips on how to get the perfect caramelized onions with a little bit more detail. So be sure to check out the channel and subscribe for that video. Yeah, they're getting all sweaty onions. Ew, that actually does not sound very good. All right, the onions are caramelized. They smell amazing. It's been a bit longer than 30 minutes. So according to the recipe, it should only take 30 minutes. I like to do mine nice and slow so they don't burn, because they can burn pretty quickly. I'm reducing the heat down to about a medium low so that the onions stop cooking. The recipe calls for 3 cloves of minced garlic. I have 1 giant clove, so maybe about 2 here. Adding that into the onion. And then I'm gonna add in a little bit of granulated garlic to add enough garlic for the flavoring. And then I'm gonna add in some thyme. Now, the recipe calls for about a teaspoon. So I'm just eyeballing this because I measure with my heart. Oh, I love thyme. It's one of my favorites. And it also calls for about a teaspoon of tarragon. I only have fresh tarragon. If you like anise or black licorice, then you might really like tarragon. But if you don't like it, then you can skip this, or you can use less. Depends on your preference. Let's cook that down. Cook it down. Going down, down. Oh my gosh, that thyme with the onion. You guys, smell-o-vision. If any of you invent it, you're like instant billionaire, trillionaire, world's first trillionaire. You know what, I'm gonna dump all the tarragon in there because I like it. Oh, that smells delish. So another thing I want to note is that the butter I used is unsalted. And the reason I did that is because the next ingredient is white wine, but I don't have a bottle of white wine to open up. So the next best thing is white cooking wine. Now the thing about white cooking wine is that it's salty. I don't want extra salt, so I don't use salted butter. The recipe calls for about 1/3 of a cup. I'm just gonna use what's left in this bottle, which is probably about 1/3 of a cup. And it's gonna help deglaze the bottom. I wouldn't mind a glass of wine right now, but that's not drinking wine, it's salty. I'm gonna turn the temperature up a little bit, back to medium. Then we're gonna let this white wine evaporate out of here. It's slowly deglazing and getting all of that nice burnt bit up off the bottom, so it's gonna add some richness of that flavor. You guys, this is gonna be so good. I just know it. There's another step this recipe has me do, which I find interesting because I don't understand why you wouldn't just do it in the same pot, but I guess whatever. While that's going, I'm gonna start a second pot. So I'm gonna turn this on to about a medium-high heat. I'm gonna drizzle some olive oil and some butter, because we like the combo, into the bottom. Now about 1/2 teaspoon of butter. You don't need that much. I have chopped chicken and I have mushrooms in here. I'm only gonna add the mushrooms in right at this moment. I've cut these up into good bite-sized chunks. I'm using cremini mushrooms. You can use white button. You can use whatever kind of mushrooms you like. So I'm gonna toss that around. Now we're gonna take a teaspoon of Worcestershire, maybe a little bit more. Mix that up nicely. Oh, this smells divine. Now I'm gonna set this aside so it doesn't continue to cook. All right, I'm gonna toss these mushrooms in that oil and the butter compound. I want to make sure that all the moisture comes out. I don't want any water in the casserole. And sprinkle a little onion powder in there too. Why not? Now I'm adding in 1.5 cups of rice, give or take some. Let me give this a good mix. Let the rice get coated in the oil. I'm gonna toast this rice so that it gets a little browned. I'm gonna measure out about 3 cups worth of the chicken broth and add it to the onions here. Now I'm gonna bring this to a boil. And now I'm gonna add spinach to the rice mixture. And I'm adding about 2 cups of chopped fresh spinach. And this will wilt down pretty quickly. And the point here is to keep mixing so you don't burn your rice. You know what? I think I'm gonna add a little bit more spinach. That's how much is left. Not a lot. So now I'm gonna transfer this into the pot with the onions. All right, so then we'll let the rice cook for about 15 minutes. Woo! Standing outside my house. Woo! It is looking done. You guys, this smells fantastic. We're gonna add in the chicken and about 1 cup of heavy cream. Mix her up. Now that this is cooked down, mixed up all the way, and it smells fantastic, let's do a taste test, make sure it has enough salt and pepper since we didn't add any yet. Because this is done, we're just going to now put it in a big casserole dish and we're gonna sprinkle cheese on and throw it under the broiler. Moment of truth here. That's pretty good. It definitely needs some salt since we didn't add any already. So I'm gonna sprinkle some in. I'm gonna sprinkle in some black pepper as well. And I like a lot of pepper. That's perfect. All right, I'm gonna pour this into my casserole dish here. And I'm gonna spread that down. You guys, I gotta take another bite, I'm hungry. Hot, hot, that's so good. Now comes the final touch. I'm gonna sprinkle on some shredded Gruyere. Gruyere is traditional on French onion soup. I'm gonna sprinkle this on really heavy because I like the cheese. You can use a kitchen torch if you want. I'm gonna put this under the broiler so it gets nice and browned. All right, this is ready to go into the oven. Am I sitting here pigging out on what's left in the pot? Yes, I am. So there are a couple of notes that I want to make about this recipe. It tastes delicious, but you need to be prepared. It does take a while to cook. Just chopping up the onions, getting the garlic, all of the produce ready took me about 10-15 minutes. Then to cook the onions down took me closer to 40 minutes to get them caramelized perfectly. And then to do the rice is another, well, depending on what kind of rice you do, I did brown rice, so it takes a little bit longer for brown rice to cook. So that was another 30 to 40 minutes. So this is not something you can just set and forget. This is definitely labor intensive. I kind of want to see how it would do in the crock pot. I feel like if you did a crock pot meal out of this, this would be really good. Oh my gosh, you guys, oh, it smells delish. All right, let's see. This is really quite delicious. Look at that cheese. Broccoli would be really good to put in here too. Making such a mess. This is so good. Yeah, I definitely want to explore trying to make this in the crock pot because I think that would be really good there. I don't know if there's any other tweaks I would make to this. It's just a labor of love, that's all. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you decide to make it or if there's another similar recipe, maybe a little bit simpler, and I'd be happy to do it because I love me some French onion. Anywho, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay sparkly, my friends, and I will see you next time. Mwah! Bye! Let's try it with a little bit of crispy onions here. Okay, that just amplified that flavor to 1,000,000 degrees. Oh my gosh. Yum.